Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Glitters of Life podcast. I'm your host, Rohit Kokane, and today we have a very special guest with us to talk about a very topic which is very close to my heart, and it is entrepreneurship. And we have Appalla Saikiran, who is the founder and CEO of SCOPE, a groundbreaking platform revolutionizing the global startup ecosystem. It is such a innovative thing, and it is an unparalleled invite-only community that acts as a catalyst for stakeholders including investors, business mentors, aspiring entrepreneurs, and professional collaborators to connect, collaborate, and convert innovative ideas into thriving business. So that is all Sai has been doing, and he has been acing at it. So welcome, Sai, on the podcast. It is a pleasure to host you.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Thank you for inviting me today.
And how is it going with you, Sai?
Well, it's been quite hectic for, the couple of months I've been. So I've been lot of travel. So I've been to London. So in London, I was actually facilitated with International Achievers Award in the House of Commons. So I was there for that purpose. So I've been traveling quite a lot the past couple of months. It's been exciting.
Yeah, that is how the like entrepreneur's life unfold, because then it is such an exciting process. You get to invest a lot of your time into like how you want to grow that particular startup, and then knowing about the results, we are pretty unsure like how it is going to happen. But then with the kind of efforts and the team you have got, you have been doing amazing. And I want to know, like, you have achieved success at very tender age, that is of 20. So that is a remarkable feat that you have achieved. So when did you come to know about like you have to take that entrepreneurial path?
So 2 points. Firstly, I heard this word you've achieved success. Don't put a full stop on it.
No, definitely. For me, it is the same definition, because then once we have that full stop, we stop
Yeah.
taking the efforts. We just
So
feel that we have achieved everything. And
I'm still on the journey to, do a lot more. I have still a lot to learn over here. It's just that, the journey is continuous. So that's pretty exciting that it's lasting. So coming to, when I had that entrepreneurial thing, so I did not even know the entrepreneurial phrase or anything. I was just very passionate about, trying to stand out of the crowd.
Mhm.
So I didn't like to, go the mundane pathways or anything. Uh, FOMO really never worried me. Okay? भाई like सब लोग यही कर रहे हैं तो मुझे भी यही करना चाहिए. That never worried me, honestly. I was like, if they're doing that, then I'm definitely not going to do that. So that's kind of a thing. So just before I started all of this, I was into sports a lot. So I'm a state level chess champion.
Oh my goodness.
I, I played nationals basketball. I was into drums, a lot of activities I was into. So the phrase you could use is jack of all, master of none. Because, all of them reached a saturation point for me where they did not excite me any further. And then I built something called a Student X. So Student X
Okay.
was like a student community group finder. So I built that. And within like, couple of hours, like 3, 4 hours, I had 25,000 downloads within my
Yeah.
college and school communities. And then I was like, my dad's pocket money is definitely not enough to upkeep the server spaces. So then somebody introduced me to the concept of angel investor.
Oh my God.
And when they introduced me to the concept of angel investor, I went into the startup ecosystem and everything. So basically, from there, my journey for Scope started. That's what I can say.
Yep. But you mentioned that particular point that you were into chess, you played basketball as well, and it didn't excite you. So, what was missing into that particular part? Because then playing at that particular level, it almost takes a kind of a toll that you have been practicing well. So, that is the point which made you to reach that particular moment. So, what was that kind of a feeling which you felt that, no, I don't want to pursue this, and it is something that is missing?
See, there is something called, talent. There's something called politics.
Oh, I can relate to it.
Yeah. There's something called the talent. There's something called the politics. Whenever you are excelling in any field of your choice, you're going to the next level. Okay. Until a certain point, talent matters, but after a certain point, politics comes into place.
Right.
And with chess and basketball, I used to go in and out. So for chess, I used to travel a lot. I there are a lot of these chess puzzle books that I used to solve, by written by grandmasters. For basketball, also every day morning I used to hit the court. But after a certain point, I did not think that, I can excel any further or I can learn any further. Those fields definitely had a lot to teach, but I definitely did not think it were perfect for me.
Okay. But
Anything.
Sai, I do agree with your point. I'm able to relate to it because then even I was playing badminton. I played till divisional level, so I do agree to that politics part. But then if you look at various examples that are doing well into the industry, I feel that still talent may take you that particular step ahead. But then I don't know, like if it is the structure into that particular sports that will hold us back or not, and that is another story.
See, so just talking about that,
Yeah,
you know, see, politics is everywhere, honestly. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's not, it's everywhere. But
definitely. Yeah.
all the talented people who are, doing great in their respective fields, they had the hunger to fight through the politics. I can just say that I did not have the I did not have enough hunger to,
Okay.
go deeper into that. It wasn't so die hard for me.
That is true. Like, if you have that hunger, then you'll be trying n number of things. Then you'll be pushing
Exactly.
yourself, and then you'll be able to find that particular path. But it's again like onus is on us how we choose to live our life and whatever we wish to do. It's totally up to us. And glad that you figured it out very early because then people try to keep themselves into that particular mud, and then it gets to the chest, and then you're just getting stuck out there. So that is something which I have done great. But then moving again to the entrepreneurial thing, we always need to have a kind of vision to progress into our lives, and you did have that. You are onto a journey. So what were those factors that influenced you for creating scope?
Okay, so coming to again, I always speak in point wise. So coming to the first point, entrepreneurs are as clueless as any other people. Okay, it's not like they are completely planned something. They have a huge strategy. As the journey proceeds, plans come to mind, and it's trial and error
Agreed.
based. Okay, so it's not like rocket science or something. But as I was mentioning, when I was introduced to the concept of angel investors, I understood how tough it was to even get a response. And so I used to send my pitch regarding student X. Now, being honestly very frank, my pitch did not deserve any response. The pitch I
Okay.
told also. But I tried to understand the whole landscape. Is it just happening with me because my pitch is horrible? That is, of course, it was. Or is it generally an industry wide problem?
Hmm.
So then I, had interactions with a couple of founders in the ecosystem. I tried to, figure out how was their fundraising process, early stage guys. So everybody had the same company. They don't get a response from an investor, may that be angel investor, VC, private equity guy, anyone. Okay, they don't get a response back, and they are in a dilemma always whether should I proceed further or should I stick to pursuing this investor. And it's so frustrating, honestly. In a time where you talk about such big techs like AI, you talk about I will enter text and videos will come, and you're still struggling or waiting for physical events to happen where you can say hi to an investor, hold them down for 5 minutes if your luck is good, and then
Very.
give them a visiting card.
Yeah.
So that is, so I'm gonna use a lot of words that you won't like. So I'm sorry about
Definitely. See, it's a honest conversation. It's raw and real, and it has to be very
that. Yeah.
candid one.
So I found that really stupid, honestly. That's not something I was very, excited about. And I was like, this is an industry gap. What can I do to connect with these guys? What can I do to create an ecosystem? So so it wouldn't be fair if I just heard the entrepreneur side. I needed to hear the VC side as well if you want to make a
Okay.
judgment. So I wrote emails to VCs. Again, no response. So I was like, how do I try to even get a response out of these guys? So the best way I figured out was podcasting with these guys. So that was, the way these guys even responded because it's human psychology. People like to
Yeah.
talk about themselves.
Right.
Okay. So I used to do podcasting with these guys. Trend maybe chal raha hai. So I used to make them sit down. I used to send them emails. and you wouldn't even imagine मुझे एक एक घंटे में responses आ जाते थे with a yes. So I was, chalo, so this is fine then. So I started building my network like this, and I started asking them, how many pitches do you get on a general average basis? So sometimes, on an average, in a couple of days or in a week's time, on an average, VCs receive around 300 pitch decks or even more.
Crazy.
So personally, it's not really possible for them to respond with a yes or a no. Only the ideas that interest them, they can go forward with it. So when I heard that point, I was even, I was surprised. So I was like, wow. So then I, talk to these VC. So 1 घंटा I used to give, 1 घंटा आप बात कर लो, मैं आखिरी के 10 मिनट बात करूंगा. So in the last 10 minutes, I used to tell them, so I'm starting kind of something like this. I'll do the due diligence. I'll take care of everything. You just have to give me a yes or a no prompt.
Right. Yeah.
So then these, VC said, yes, we'll respond. So मैंने क्या किया, मैंने छोटा सा WhatsApp group बना लिया पहले. WhatsApp group में started sharing the deals. All the VCs were like, yes, no, let's have a meeting with the founders. I was like,
चल रहा
the
है.
founders were also happy because even if the no was coming, they know why the no was coming and they are improving that in their next pitch.
Yeah.
So the element of certainty that they will get a response is what made the founders happy. They didn't
Loved
like
that.
being held on. And that is the first industry problem that I wanted to, solve. So that is where I started off.
Great. So, this particular name scope, is it just about making that scope available to each and every person, or does it have got any kind of a abbreviation to it?
No, it's not gotten any abbreviation to it, but yeah, it's just that there's a lot of scope in the market,
Yeah.
in startup space at least. So in this company, the revenue always has a lot of scope. There are a lot of scope for multiple revenue channels because when you're dealing in the startup finance space, so scope primary use cases, basically, startup fundraising and everything. But now we have a LP pool as well who are investing into VCs. So recently we did a $30 million fundraise for oncology ventures for a healthcare VC. We are also
Amazing.
into portfolio management services, startup fundraising, strategic connection making. So it's kind of an investment banking firm that came up.
Amazing to know. So, is it your own brain, or like does the team also works onto the product that you have to develop, and uh, what is the particular formation of it?
So initially it was alone because
Yeah.
uh, uh, like at the early stages I was 16, 17. Now also 20 साल का हूँ, 19 अभी होने वाला हूँ 20 साल का. So early stages it was tough to convince people to take me seriously. And if I have to see, I had to really, first get up to their level to make them comfortable. And then I had to tell them, I came up to your level. Now you have to come down to my level to make me feel comfortable. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah, it is always.
Yeah. So that's how initially we started. I built a partnership with a company called Sagium, where it was human resources they used to provide. I partnered with them. I first got my 8 employees, then it kept expanding. Now it's 60 employee team. Now we're slowly expanding to US. It's kind of like that.
Great going.
So initially I started, but now everybody, shares inputs and everybody has ideas, which makes me really happy actually.
Exactly, yeah. And this is the kind of a motivation people might be needing, because then I have seen like what teens have been doing these days. The generation is quite sharp as well. Like few of them are doing and excelling in a great way. But on the other hand, there are people who are just figuring out like कि क्या करना है यार मुझे पता ही नहीं चलता है उनको. But again, to each of their own, and it has been a great journey for you. So, Scope has been like instrumental in connecting with the entrepreneurs, say like be it the investors, mentors as well. So, how do you see that it will be impacting the startups landscape, particularly for the young entrepreneurs? Because यार एक हमेशा वो एक दिमाग में कहीं ना कहीं होता है कि will that particular idea succeed or not? Because that is the question that will always run into someone's mind. And again, you never know like until you try that particular thing. So for you it has been that kind of a journey, like let's do this and see if it is working or not. So did you get any kind of that particular thought, and what's your view about the young entrepreneurs as well?
So it's scary. It is. I won't deny. Matlab, Uh, there were days where I cried in my bedroom. Like it was horrible. Okay. क्योंकि डर इस बात का लगता था कि when you're a teenager and the transition from between your high school to your college entrance exam ये सब, so it was pretty stressful for me. And if I even had a thought that this might not work, I was scared. घर वाले क्या सोचेंगे अब like it was crazy for me. But the lucky part was, my parents have been very supportive of the fact, that I was trying to do something different. They supported me throughout whatever was required. They did not, they gave me the space I required to build my idea.
Right.
So my dad always tells, my dad and mom always say this, कि बच्चे अगर एक साल नीट या जेई लेने के लिए ड्रॉप दे देते हैं, you take 1 year to pursue your passion if you want to. Doesn't really create any harm.
Absolutely.
So they are doing for J, you do for your passion. Within 1 year, we'll figure out if you can turn this into a success story or not. But I did not have to take a drop. Luckily,
You are
I
sharp enough.
not sharp enough. I was lucky enough. I can say over there. Uh, I was lucky enough with some of the support mechanisms I had. But it was definitely scary for me because I used to write tons and tons of emails. Like मेरा schedule होता था कि 9 से लेकर 12 बजे तक
Email
मेल्स भेजो.
भेजो.
लाइक एक लिस्ट होता था किन किन से फॉलो अप करना है, तो उसमें भी लाइक इट वाज टफ. आई रीच्ड आउट टू लॉट ऑफ HNIs
Okay.
एंड इट वाज टफ. आई वाज स्कैर्ड एज हेल कि रिस्पांस क्या आएगा. सो आई यूज्ड टू आल्सो हैव दिस मेल ट्रैक एम्बेडेड इनटू द
हाँ, किसने ओपन किया?
हाँ किसने ओपन किया. एंड एज सून एज समबडी ओपन्स, मैं इतना खुश हो जाता था ना, आज तो रिस्पांस आएगा ही आएगा, पर इट नेवर केम. मेल ट्रैक
Okay.
तो 100,000 बार खुल ही जाते थे, तो रिस्पांस कभी आता नहीं था. सो इट्स लाइक दैट. सो इट्स स्कैरी, बट यू हैव टू आल्सो कंसीडर द फैक्ट दैट इट इज रिस्की एवरीवेयर. अभी कोई कंपलसरी रूल नहीं है कि जॉब में जाओगे सब सिक्योर है.
नहीं यार, मतलब अभी के ज़माने में तो रहा ही नहीं वैसा.
So there is nothing called secure job security anywhere unless and until you're in a government job.
वो भी अभी करप्शन के चलते.
हाँ, unless and until you're in a government job, let's not talk about the word job security. वो है ही नहीं कहीं. ठीक है. तो I was like, although I was in a dilemma, the hunger to, just win this. I did not care about the money. I did not care about the funding. The first thing through my mails also, what I asked was, I asked for mentorship.
Appreciate.
Because even if I get that money now, I don't know how to manage that money.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem. And I don't want to be a one hit wonder kind of guy. हाँ, एक बार आ गया, फंडिंग निकाली, उसके बाद स्टार्टअप बंद.
सही बात है.
I don't want to be that. I want to try to be sustainable as much as possible. I know I'll be making mistakes, but I want to ensure that those mistakes are corrected by me.
But then, Sai, have you ever thought about going bootstrapped?
See, वो business to business depend करता है.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. That is true.
Bootstrap is a very, good thing. But again, it depends from business to business कि
Yeah.
आपके business को growth किस rate पे चाहिए होगा.
हाँ, वो sustainability again.
So for me, well, I was expanding at a good pace. I was getting a lot of deals, so I had to take venture fund.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So otherwise, there are a lot of bootstrap companies and everything that are doing amazing. And the second thing you also need to know is that, venture funding is not for everyone. Okay? And not every startup is meant to be a unicorn.
Ah.
So everybody is, with that mindset कि मुझे unicorn बनाना है. There are a lot of startups out there who are actually doing amazing, who aren't even unicorns.
Yeah.
So it's really not mandatory to, be a unicorn or anything. You just got to understand that point. So
True.
that is the one thing that, strike me. But with bootstrap, there are startups that can go bootstrap. It is just in the way you see how your company growth is required. Let's say if you're in a D2C market or something, the company where there's already a lot of competition, and
Mhm.
आप time लेते हो to expand.
Yeah.
then that is bad for your company. So, or their venture funding, some sort of funding is required for you to grow. It's
Got
kind of
it.
a scenario.
Amazing. Because then again, it becomes more relevant for the person, like how they want to grow and whatever suits them the best. It has to go that way. And
Exactly.
you did talk about that very particular topic, sustainability, which is very important. Like people need to know the importance of it. क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स ऐसे हो जाता है कि पैसा मिल गया, ग्रो कर लिए, बट दैट इज फॉर अ वेरी शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, एंड देन उसका रिजल्ट मिलता नहीं, इंडस्ट्री में नाम थोड़े दिन के लिए रहता है, and बाद में लोग भी भूल जाते हैं, तो वो हो जाता है. And Sai, I want to know about your learning process, the decision making approach that you have, and the execution of it. Because you have been doing it in a very young age, and people want to get inspired from you, so they want to know the process as well. क्योंकि मैंने कर लिया, ये तो हो गया, but कैसे कर रहे हो ये हमें जानना है.
See, on a like in decision making process, when I have to think something that, whether I have to do it or not, you got to always evaluate two aspects. Okay.
Okay.
What do I have to lose? What do I have to gain? Okay. Now, starting में हमेशा लोग बोलते हैं, at least for me, मैं उन्हें हमेशा बोलता था. So the people used to tell me कि, भाई लोग क्या सोचेंगे if you fail or anything. मैंने बोला, मैंने इज्जत कमाई का है जो खो दूंगा मैं.
अभी तो पूरी दुनिया
I haven't even earned anything to lose something. So just evaluate what do you have to lose. You never, you are never in a position that you will lose something unless and until you're some big shot. When you're starting your journey, you really don't have to lose anything. So just say yes to as many possibilities, say yes to as many opportunities as possible. होने के लिए कुछ है नहीं स्टार्टिंग में. यू आर एज सॉलिड एज पॉसिबल. तो मैं हमेशा यही सोचता था, लोग मुझे बोलते थे भाई क्या सोचेंगे, वो इज्जत कमाई का है जो खो दूंगा मैं. आई लिटरली हैव नथिंग टू लूज. It's kind of like that scenario. So that's how I evaluate, majority of my decisions. What do I stand to gain? What do I stand to lose? If I stand to lose something, is it, going to be less than what I stand to gain? If it's going to be less than what I stand to gain, then definitely I will, try to lose.
cool.
It's something like that.
What about the learning process? Like, how do you take information into your hands? Like, what are the resources that you have been following? And see, experience is one kind of a thing. You go into the practicality of that particular business. आपको पता चल जाता है कि मुझे यही करना है. That is how I'll be pitching. I have got better onto that particular thing. क्योंकि जैसे कि once you said that earlier, you used to get no response, but then you changed your strategy. But then to learn that particular strategy, to learn about the learning approach कि कैसा होना चाहिए, what will be the right thing to do, what will be the wrong thing to do, so how do you learn about those things?
So basically, it happens on trial and error basis. Beginning में,
Okay.
you figure out stuff, you don't figure out stuff. होता है beginning में.
सबके साथ.
But after eventually, you get people along in your journey whom you learn something. You get
Okay.
mentors. So I always say this: you always have one quality that you can learn from every person in the world. There's always one quality you can learn.
True that.
Yeah? So then my investors or advisors, I learn daily something new from them. Okay. So it's just that, as much as importance you're giving to money or funding, just give equal importance to mentors. Mentors, you don't, take in such mentors who जो नाम के वाचे coaches हैं. Now LinkedIn में trend है. I am a LinkedIn coach.
हाँ.
It's like, dozens of those things. I'm a LinkedIn coach or this, that. Take the people who have experience. Take the people who have failed, because they can tell you where to, hold back. That is very important. So when you prioritize mentorship equally in any, not only in entrepreneurship, in any field, your success will be long-term success. It won't be short
Yes,
success.
that is how we have to proceed ahead in our life, and that is the
Yes.
kind of approach that we need. Because then see, whenever I talk about the word fear, or the failure or the fail, and it's more about like the fearless attitude is lacking. That is how I define the word fail. So you just have to be fearless. क्या होगा, like खोने के लिए कुछ नहीं है वैसे ही. So it's a good way to learn. Like I'm learning a lot of things, and at this age you are having a lot of clarity about how you want to deal with your work and how do you want to proceed ahead in your life. That is truly amazing. So people in your industry might be doing a lot of things. I want to know, like, what is that one thing that they need to stop doing? क्योंकि होता है यार कि नहीं मुझे इट्स नॉट जस्ट बिकॉज कि तुम्हें पसंद नहीं है बट यू थिंक लाइक इट इज मॉरली इनकरेक्ट और समथिंग लाइक दैट.
Okay.
सोच के बताना केबीसी. हम पहला पड़ाव पार कर चुके हैं.
Morally, I wouldn't say morally incorrect, but there's a lot of half-baked knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
half-baked information. So to be honest, अभी हर ecosystem meetups पे जाओगे या हर VC website पे जाओगे या anything, it seems so easy to approach people. Like, बस call लगाने की देरी है, other end guy is just waiting for our call, or just waiting there to interact. But it's not that easy, honestly. It's not that easy. You know, Second thing is जो FOMO, that has played a disastrous role from the year of 2020 to
20.
2022. It has destroyed a lot of stuff. FOMO. Thirdly, the media hype.
हाँ.
I hate it. It is not as glorious as they show it.
Yeah.
Okay? So these are the three things I don't like at all from the industry perspective. Because there are a lot of doing a startup is more of putting in everything you have. Okay? When you're asking someone to put in everything you have, you better give them a heads up just before they put in everything. भाई ये industry ऐसा है, this
हाँ यार.
field is, you have to give them you have to give them information, because startup is going to ask a lot of stuff from you and you're going to lose a lot of stuff in this process.
Ooh.
So that I find really frustrating. सब लोग like uh, just I was having this Q&A in my Instagram story, and one person writes to me, I wish I had your life.
आके जी ले बोलना.
मैं sure, just be ready to pay the price I am paying for it.
वही तो.
Because there are a lot of things that don't happen in front of anyone. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of interactions that don't happen in front of people. Abhi, I won't name it,
Yeah.
okay, but you'll understand it. I'm going to tell it in such a way. So there's a big VC firm in India which has, restructured because its US counterpart has, detached itself from the Indian firm. So I guess you got the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's detached itself, and it has had the most number of controversies, or its its portfolio startup has had the most number of fall throughs.
I know.
So which were glorified between the year of 2020 or
20.
22, like उन्हें भगवान मानते थे, वो अभी कहीं के
हाँ.
नहीं. So it's not that they were oblivious of the fact that they did not even know, but they knew, but they ignored. Because the problem, अभी जो प्रॉब्लम से लोगों के घरे चल रही है ना, वो प्रॉब्लम को कोई सॉल्व नहीं करेगा, उसे बढ़ाएंगे लोग.
सही बात है.
So it wasn't the fact that they might have not known or anything. They might have known stuff, but what has happened. But these are pretty intense and high level stuff that happen within the within those boardrooms or within those parties,
Mm-hmm.
so that you never know of, you never hear of. So
Yeah.
yeah, these are the three things, half-baked knowledge, media hype,
Yeah.
and FOMO. I hate the most about the thing. It's not as glorious as it seems. There's a lot of things that people sacrifice in this industry. Nobody has an idea of. सब दिखाते success ऐसा है, success ऐसा है. It's not
वैसा
that.
नहीं होता है. What do you think about those meetups and the events that are happening? Because many private players are getting into it. If you see the awards and the excellences that has been being provided to the people out there. तो वो भी एक कभी कभी it raises a question mark like कि how authentic that particular event is, what they
हाँ,
are
इससे
seeking.
ज़्यादा अवार्ड्स खरीद सकते हो आप।
हाँ, वो तो है, मतलब जितना पैसा उतना हायर अवार्ड मिल जाएगा.
उतना हायर
So
अवार्ड आपको मिल ही जाएगा।
so have you कभी कुछ आता है ऐसे 20 under 20 के लिए कुछ?
आपका प्राइस टैग आ जाता है। आप बताओ आपको कौन सा पैकेज चाहिए, अवार्ड और प्राइस टैग आपको मिल जाएगा। तो
इसके-
आई फाउंड दैट आई लाइक ऑनेस्टली बीइंग आई ऑलवेज वाज टॉट दैट टैलेंट मैटर्स।
हाँ,
पर यहाँ देख के समझ में टैलेंट हो या ना हो, पैसे हो तो सब कुछ हो जाएगा।
पैसे होते सब कुछ.
And honestly, that's a industry kind of practice for the media to earn revenue, but that's just sad
Yeah,
because the real talented people are never recognized. And it feels like
I agree because
there are a lot of worthy people on those
yeah,
lists or on those awards, but I just feel like if money is being put to purchase an award or a title, you don't deserve it.
yeah, we haven't worked hard to get
Hard
that
enough.
particular thing. Yeah,
जो
and we know like what kind of efforts we have taken to achieve that kind of a success or to reach that particular point. So whenever it happens with respect to the podcasting as well, I know like I have grown organically, but if I have to do enough of marketing and I have to grow that numbers, that is possible that I'll have to invest into that particular thing, and I'll also get will be able to get that number as well. But you have to be true to your journey, how you're rising up in the ladder. You don't need to pull anything inadvertently, because then that is how you'll be able to achieve that particular success, and you'll be grateful of that as well. But then again yeah, you have to say something.
No, yeah, as you were talking about podcasting, now there are a lot of podcasts जिसमें marketing वगैरह होती है,
होती है बिल्कुल.
but the best podcast in the world by Lex Friedman.
या
He doesn't do any sort of marketing, कुछ नहीं
मार्केटिंग नहीं,
होता,
कुछ
but
नहीं
it's the
होता है.
best podcast in all the like world में जो भी HNI influential, even political guys, all of them want to come on the podcast because
या
it is about the proper knowledge. We're talking about substance over there
राइट.
that really matter. So that whenever I see that guy's podcast, whenever I see Lex's podcast, मतलब वहाँ I see 100% pure talent. I don't see any other bullshit over there.
That is how it has to be.
That's what I like the most.
And again it's not about like, for me again whenever I get a profile, whenever I scan through the profile, it is more about the value that a person is going to provide. So it's not just because like someone is approaching you and bring that particular person onto my show, I just want to fill the episodes. No, that hasn't that needs not to be the case. You just need to see like what justice you can do for your viewers, listeners. That is how you have to see to that element. And Lex has been doing great, because then that is the kind of, now what we have seen is that people who were YouTubers first, now the trend of podcasting is rising, then they have become the podcasters. Everyone wants to get that into a zone. For them it's more about the creator economy, we can't say much about that. But again, talking about the career and all that, we have been following a very traditional approach, like doctor ban jao, engineer ban jao, and then that will be favoring you. But you chose a very different path, and at a very young age. So what was the reaction from your parents, your peers, friends? Because then, as you said earlier, like you have sacrificed a lot, and you know like what you have been paying for that. So what was that all chaos, or like the situation of amazement?
So it was, stressful kind of thing when you break from a traditional conventional path because unconventional karna is fine, but when you do it unconventional in front of the society, like society के conventional boundaries तोड़ के तुम्हें जाना है, तब तो it is, nightmare for anyone. As
Yeah.
I was also saying, I was lucky enough that my parents have been supportive throughout the journey, but yeah, there has been, kind of talks while I was going through this whole journey. There were talks about, from my family members or दूर के relatives that you always talk
वो
about.
पास के हो जाते
I
हैं.
know even my uh, तो उसके बाद friends also used to ask me, how do you think, this will work out? Is it secure enough? And I was like, I have no clue. I don't know. And वो FOMO इतना गंदा मारता है ना मुझे. Like when, I say that, there are a lot of trends that won't affect me, but just the fear that, I might fail
Mm-hmm.
and I might, be a disappointment over it. That that image, comes into the mind and it scares a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess that has been the biggest propeller in my journey, that dar. That has been the biggest propeller in the journey. So when I raised my first funding, so I raised my first funding of $300,000 from Microsoft.
Oh, nice.
After that, I went ahead, raised $1.3 million from Tim Draper. Then I raised my third round of $17 million. जो मेरे पास्ट ईयर का रेवेन्यू था, was 390 crores.
Wow.
तो then all the दूर के रिश्तेदार and everything बहुत पास हो गए. Everyone like, you did the right decision. I always supported you. So it's like, I always say this. When you, I don't know if this is going to come out wrong or anything, but just correct me if it comes out wrong in any manner. Is it that, money isn't everything that people say money isn't everything, but it is 99% everything. जो 1% है वो relations, family सब होता है, पर 99% money is it.
Yeah, it is.
You
I
can't,
do agree.
neglect that fact. It will be stupid also to neglect that fact that money is
You can't
everything.
survive without money.
हाँ, it's like, if somebody says that, मैं पूछता हूँ पहले, are you a billionaire or something? So don't be a philosopher if you haven't earned money. Be a philosopher when you've earned money.
Yeah. And if you're talking
It's
about the
that kind of.
love, yeah, क्योंकि when we say that the love should be unconditional, but अगर पैसा नहीं है तो फिर वो conditional हो जाता है. So that is how it
See,
is.
everything is because, your love, affection, family, all of this, money is like a security kind of thing. Like, like it maintains all of this. There's an expense
Yeah,
to all of this.
true.
It maintains that expense. So that is why money is pretty important. I wouldn't neglect it.
We should not deny the fact.
Yes.
I'm glad that you have the support of your parents, because then those are the people who we should be counting upon. Otherwise, then it becomes quite difficult, because then see, there are friends, there are other people who might be supporting from uh, behind them, but then having that internal support matters a lot. The journey becomes quite easier. Then you feel the kind of a strength in you as well, so that we can take a step ahead. And as you said earlier as well, I'll just repeat that कि खोने के लिए कुछ नहीं था, because that is something people should be working upon. That is something that people should remember. हम हमेशा रिजल्ट के बारे में सोचते हैं, आउटकम के बारे में सोचते हैं, बट देन ड्यूरिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग वी टेंड टू लूज द फोकस ऑन टू द प्रोसेस. तो वो सही चीज होती है कि फोकस ऑन द प्रोसेस एज वेल, एंड द जर्नी गेट्स रिवॉर्डिंग. And as you talked earlier into your podcast as well, the blogs as well, you draw an inspiration from Elon Musk. So, what's that kind of a specific aspect of his journey resonates with you, and how that has influenced your entrepreneurial philosophy? And why just Elon
So
Musk?
okay, so I'll tell you why. Okay, so people say, all of this. Yeah, he's a bit erratic. He's erratic on social media,
Yeah,
Twitter,
he
X,
is.
erratic.
I do agree.
A lot of controversial comments on a lot of world political, geopolitical stuff. But what I can say is about all he does is his thumb rule kind of thing is any sort of marketing is good marketing.
Yeah,
He's always do that. उसका कोई मार्केटिंग टीम नहीं है, वो खुद अपना
good.
मार्केटिंग टीम है.
Yeah,
His one tweet can, take anything up and take anything down. That's the kind of, stature he holds. And the reason also why I consider him as my idol is there's this specific quote of his. I'm not sure if it's the quote, but it's
yeah.
his quote. So he always says, just like baby showers, we need to host entrepreneurial showers where all the resources are pulled in just to give birth to a new startup idea or a venture. And that's something I really loved. And that's the whole, kind of mission statement of Scope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because starting a new venture is nothing less than taking care of a child. You're gonna give it
Absolutely.
everything, whatever you have. And end में तुम्हें पता नहीं कि it will, ditch you, it will destroy
For
you,
you.
or it will give you the success you deserve.
सही बात है.
So that's why I, look up to him a lot in that aspect. And that's why Elon Musk. And now we work with his family office also.
Oh.
Yeah, now we work with his family as part of a network. But yeah, that's the specific reason. That's why, I adore him a lot. His never give up attitude is something really crazy. I, always see that, if that guy at such worst situations didn't give up, who the hell am I to give up and complain about stuff? I have no
Yes.
right then.
Yeah.
Just looking at his scenarios, how he saved, Tesla,
Tesla.
how he saved SpaceX, anything. It was really tough. अगर उस बंदे ने उस टाइम पे वो सेव कर लिया, like in the world, like bankrupt scenarios, then who the hell am I to even complain? I just have to work hard.
Yeah.
If I am asking for, some sympathy कि भाई मैं इतना मुश्किल फेस से जा रहा हूँ ये वो, that's I'm just giving the reasons to myself.
Said it in a right way, because then we have seen him doing exceptional different things, because people tend to usually do whatever they have seen or like seen others doing. But then for like if we talk about his story, it's totally different. Whatever the products he might be having, whatever the services he might be offering, it's totally unique. And then he just puts that energy into it, like कि यार होगा ये possible, ये हो सकता है. And that is the kind of spirit he lives with. And मतलब एज यू सेड कि एक ट्वीट हो या फिर कुछ भी स्टेटमेंट हो, इट होल्ड्स द पोटेंशियल टू लाइक टेक यू अप एंड डाउन. तो वो सारी चीज काफी बेहतर है. एंड यू राइटली सेड दैट. बट देन विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू द एजुकेशन, इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट साई, वी हैव सीन लाइक नाउ दैट यू आर जस्ट 20, पीपल फील दैट यार मुझे एक फॉर्मल एजुकेशन का रूट लेना ही पड़ेगा टू बी वेरी सक्सेसफुल. And with few people it is more like कि चलो drop ले लेते हैं and then I'll pursue my passion and then make a career out of it. So what do you see, like is there a scope for restructuring the educational system and that will support young entrepreneurs, or how is it right now?
See, honestly, what Bits Pilani has as a structure is really amazing.
Okay.
So Bits Pilani has this structure where students can take 1 year drop
Yeah.
and pursue entrepreneurship. They also have no attendance rule. Like ऐसा कोई मैंडेटरी अटेंडेंस है क्लास में आकर बैठो, वैसे भी क्लास में कौन अटेंशन देता है?
कौन
जस्ट
देता
बीइंग
है?
वेरी ब्रूटली ऑनेस्ट.
Yeah.
रीजन कितना भी दे लो कि हाँ बच्चे आएंगे क्लास में, वहां भी स्लाइड्स ही होते हैं, एवरीथिंग
अभी
होते हैं.
तो
सो
वही हो गया है.
या सो वो तो ऑनलाइन में भी है. यू जस्ट गॉट टू गिव स्टूडेंट्स द फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी.
हम्म.
या सो आई वाज लाइक दैट इज द बेस्ट स्ट्रक्चर. मतलब रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग में आई डोंट हैव सम रॉकेट साइंस आइडिया, बट what Bits Pilani is doing is great. That structure, I guess, if inculcated in other universities, will also be very helpful for students.
Yeah.
They can find the flexibility. So degree drop लेने की जरूरत नहीं है किसी को भी. It's just that हाँ अगर वो exponentially grow हो रहा है अपने field में तब degree छोड़ सकते हैं. But in the meanwhile, they can also stay in university where the attendance is taken care of by the university, as well as कि if necessary they can take a 1 year drop and continue pursuing their education. That's something really remarkable done by Bets Pilani. I guess other universities can, somewhat look at.
But yeah, like I don't know like what stops other universities following this particular approach, because they have been very much banking upon the attendance and all that stuff. Projects karo, ye karo.
मुझे आज तक समझ में नहीं आया, being very honest, bluntly. I haven't seen any of the, colleges can only teach you terms. वो fancy terms सीख लोगे, हाँ उतना ही आएगा.
उतना ही है.
पर उससे ज्यादा I haven't seen any use to it. प्रोजेक्ट भी प्रोजेक्ट प्रोफेसर को देते, प्रोफेसर को देखने के बाद वो प्रोजेक्ट कहाँ जाते हैं किसी को नहीं मालूम.
किसी को नहीं पता है. स्क्रैप.
हाँ. So that project also, it's time wasted if
Yeah.
it's not been taken further. the attendance ka, the student is not going to pay attention. Let the student utilize it somewhere where it can be beneficial. उसके बाद तुम बोलते the student has no passion or they don't have a vision for them their future. तुमने उसे opportunity दिया है कहाँ है to even dream. हाई स्कूल खत्म होने के बाद तुमने उसे घुसा दिया इंजीनियरिंग या मेडिकल कॉलेज में, एंड यू जस्ट आस्क देम टू कीप गोइंग विद द फ्लो. You have
वही
never
होता
given
है.
them any opportunity. When you have not given opportunity, do not expect a result.
Mm-hmm. Rightly said.
That is very wrong from universities or any other perspective also who demands students should give a result. You
नहीं
can't
आएगा.
ask something that you have not given them. ये ऐसा है कि प्रिंट जेरोक्स मशीन में मैंने बिना पेपर डाले मैं प्रिंट मांग रहा हूँ, आएगा नहीं कभी.
कभी नहीं आएगा. That's true, and I have seen, like, when I was into my college days, when I went for junior college in 2007, and it differs to from city to city as well. So if you go to a rural side, then whatever the colleges we have, वहाँ पे लोग आते भी है, क्लासेस भी अटेंड करते हैं फुल टाइम वगैरह. बट व्हेन आई वेंट टू अ सिटी, इट वाज टोटली अ डिफरेंट स्ट्रक्चर. यहाँ पे कोई कॉलेज अटेंड नहीं कर रहा है. माय ब्रेन वाज शेकन, यार ये कैसा लाइफस्टाइल है. बट देन आई गॉट अडॉप्टेड, और उससे कोई करियर पे इम्पैक्ट नहीं हुआ. It was more about the practical approach that we followed. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that is how it counts in. If you have got that zeal into you, you can excel without going to colleges as well. But then वो एक calculated risk होना चाहिए. It's not
Exactly.
just कि fancy, मतलब कि आप इंटरनेट पे देखते हो, इसने किया, साई ने ऐसा किया तो मुझे भी मिल जाएगा.
नहीं 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 नहीं, this is the one big thing that everybody doesn't understand. Just because one formula has worked for some person's journey doesn't mean that formula is going to work for your journey. हर ताले की चाबी अलग है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि हाँ उसके लिए कॉपी किया. अगर मैं इलॉन मस्क के जन्म से लेकर उसके अभी तक का चार्ट फॉलो करूं, मैं इलॉन मस्क बन जाऊंगा थोड़ी ना.
नहीं.
दैट इज जस्ट स्टूपिडिटी.
Yeah,
I won't become Elon Musk even if I follow foot by foot whatever he has done.
पॉसिबल ही नहीं है.
हाँ, तो it's you can get inspired by looking someone if that is something that's just a motivation to keep going with your
Yeah.
journey. But don't follow the path they have gone through because that path was meant for them. Your path might be different and that will be perfect for you. Don't go through the other people's path. It's wrong.
Very well said. Now, how do you see the future for Scope? Like, what's that particular thing that you are going to do different than what you're doing right now, and how does that vision will be unfolding in years to come?
Well, eventually we definitely plan to become the biggest investment banker in the startup space.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, Slowly, we are also forming our venture fund right now. Yeah, eventually, I just want to see Scope as a one-stop shop for everything in the startup ecosystem. And also, I want to set a global benchmark from India, from Scope. Like US has Y Combinator.
Hmm. Yeah.
So अगर Y Combinator कोई में startup select हो जाता है, मतलब it is guaranteed success kind of
हाँ.
certificate लग गया. I want something
Lottery.
like that in India. I want exactly something like that in India. Okay, India has the best minds. India has the best talent. Okay, and I definitely want to leverage on that and create a global benchmark with that respect. So
अभी वैसे कोई है नहीं, मतलब into that particular league या फिर competition में वैसे?
I haven't heard anything competing with Y
Okay.
Combinator standards.
Okay.
At least I haven't heard. There are so there is this another person, if the Week in Startups by Jason, if you have heard the podcast. So he has something like for some sort of accelerator or incubator kind of
Yeah.
thing for
Yeah.
startups. So he's also doing some amazing stuff. In Hyderabad, there's T Hub.
Yeah. I
Uh,
heard.
that's also one thing. But I really haven't seen as much as like startup का confidence जो boost हो जाता है ना,
हाँ.
मतलब जो अभी तक इट वाज लाइक जो स्टार्टअप अभी तक किसी के सामने नहीं आता था, अगर वाई कॉम्बिनेटर में चला गया ना, इट्स लाइक द शाहरुख खान वाला एटीट्यूड आ जाता है. दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग कम. सो दैट इज समथिंग. एंड वाई कॉम्बिनेटर का जो द थिंग आई लव इज all the it has a hub of all these top founders, unicorns,
Hmm.
top VCs who come in on a weekly basis and try to, interact with the cohort. And
Yeah,
that is really amazing. The knowledge, the resources Y Combinator's offer. So I guess I want to, create something like that within India to set a global benchmark.
I'm just wishing you all the best in your journey, and you'll surely achieve that, Sai, because then you have got the vision, you are taking efforts, you have got the team which is supporting you in your mission. Because ऐसे जल्दी होता नहीं है, क्योंकि वो एक सेम path पे सेम विजन लेके चलना, because there are always kind of a different thinking that people have got, but then to align them and work towards that particular cause is something that we all should be able to figure it out. कैसे क्या, वो तो अपनी अपनी स्टाइल है, अपना अपना काम करने का तरीका है, but then that is needed. And coming on to the last part of this episode, I want to know, like, people have been asking a lot of this question कि एक यंग मतलब entrepreneur के लिए, एक यंग entrepreneur के लिए एक advice होनी चाहिए. So what is that advice which is being given frequently that you think should be ignored or reconsidered? I don't want you to give advice, but I want to know, like, what is that advice that you have got should have been ignored or reconsidered?
Listen more, speak less, be decisive when the time is right.
That's how it is.
That's how it should be. You know, a lot of young entrepreneurs hear a lot of advices. There's no advice I would give, but be, decisive with those advices that you hear. बहुत सारे ज्ञान देने वाले होंगे, ओके? बहुत सारे ज्ञान देने वाले होंगे, पर don't consider everyone. Nobody knows your journey better than you.
True that. Very
वो
true.
even if Elon Musk comes and gives you, it's your journey. People can give you an advice, it's your decision to take it or leave it. And majority of the times you will have to leave it. Only 1% you take it.
You have to own your life.
Exactly.
You
So
have to take that accountability as well.
yeah, because नहीं तो advice लोगे कुछ हो जाएगा, you will keep blaming that guy. क्यों
वो
चाहिए?
वो कॉमन फेनोमेनन है.
क्यों चाहिए? Just don't listen to any advice. And the other thing also, the only rule is there is no rule.
There is no rule.
कुछ
Make your
भी
own
करो,
rules.
कुछ भी करो, experiment, fail, get up, try again. Simple. उससे ज़्यादा
साउंड
कुछ नहीं है।
सिंपल, बट देन जो करता है उसको पता होता है कि कितनी लगती है.
वो तो लगेगी। That is part.
उसके बिना तो फिर मेहनत में मजा भी नहीं आएगा ना.
हाँ,
अदरवाइज फिर वो एकदम इजी चीज ही लगेगा कि हाँ चलो ये तो डेस्टिन्ड था और वो मिल गया, बट देन नहीं. Sai, it has been a great conversation with you. मतलब जिस प्रकार से like it unfolded and the values that you have shared, the wisdom that you have gained through your experience by working into this field is something that everyone should be looking forward to. And I hope that listeners are and the viewers are going to have some great key takeaways from this episode. So it was pleasure to host you, and I wish you a very all the best for your future endeavors as well. And if anyone wants to get into touch with Sai, his website link or the LinkedIn profile link will be in the episode description, or do reach out to him via email as well. Now he has been like used to हो गए कि अभी emails आपको आते होंगे.
emails आता है, पर the best way to get in touch with me is my social medias.
Yeah,
You drop me a message, I'll definitely look at them and I'll try to respond as much as possible.
definitely. So thank you so much, Sai, and good to see you back in action with your work. And let's see कि अब 20 के बाद 30 में क्या future होता है. We'll be recording another episode with you very soon.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it too.
Definitely. Stay happy, stay healthy. Bye bye. Take care.